Thank you so much for coming to our very last and final of these types of videos. And we are so awesomely honored and excited to welcome Carla Sorensen. Carla Sorensen.
Thank you so much for having me. I love going last. I
Oh,
love
you
going
do?
last, which sounds, I know, ironic because my book is kicking off first, but
It's kicking off first. And this is
yeah,
the second time you've been first at a Smarty Pants romance launch. So
I know. That is true. And that's okay. So there's good things and bad things about going last, but going first, you kind of get the sheer terror and excitement out of the way. And then you just get to be excited for everybody else's awesome books.
yes, that's true. Well said. And then what is the positive in going last?
Okay, let's say Zoom calls. I like going last because then
Okay.
by the time like they've seen everybody else and there's probably hopefully no way I can, no, I don't know. I don't
You
know
don't know?
what.
Okay.
Know what.
That's cool. But before we talk about your awesome book and your gorgeous book covers, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself? You don't have to go over strengths and weaknesses, just who is Carla Sorensen? And please don't
I
tell
don't
us.
have to tell you all my weaknesses as a person right now in this video. Okay.
You know, my favorite is when people are like, I just care too much. That's I just care too much. Anyway, go ahead. Tell us
I'm
about
thinking about that episode of The Office where Michael Scott talks about how his strengths are his his weaknesses
Yeah.
are his strengths. You don't want me to
That's
do
a
that?
great show.
So me as an author, I write contemporary romance and I write sports books, but I also write, um, I, I guess I would call them really centered around strong family units. Would be my non-sports books. So that would include the Buchanans, which they kind of happened organically. I didn't necessarily go into Smarty Pants thinking I'm going to write a family series. But it's something that I kind of tend to, it's always the core of my books. I guess you would call that one of my id things, is really strong, tight-knit family units. And so I like writing about, I guess, real people and kind of the real things that they go through, no matter what the framework is of my stories, whether it's a small town in Green Valley or professional football. Like, I feel like they're just normal people deal with normal problems in every different level of life. And that's kind of what I like to write.
Now, your series, Love at First Sight, or
Yes.
romance, they have a kind of not so normal thing going on in their family. Can you talk a little bit about the curse?
Yes. So
I
the
love the
legend,
curse.
yeah, I know. The Buchanan family legend is kind of that when the Buchanan men, it was kind of a sexist curse because we have mostly Buchanan men other than Grace, who is the second one. When they meet their person, when they meet the one, they know, and they know immediately. And it's kind of this illogical love at first sight thing, which normally we would think doesn't exist. And I even had somebody ask me, like, well, why is that a curse? That sounds kind of awesome to me that you would just know. And I was like, but you can't control the other person. And it doesn't mean that they immediately love you back. And so one of the things I remember you and I talking about this at that retreat in Tennessee, where it's like, how do you write a 4-book series where you have one of the pair that immediately knows their feelings and is so aware of what's going on? And how do you craft stories that are still compelling and interesting? And so it's been really fun to kind of see how that family legend plays out with these different family members, you know, with Levi meeting Joss when he's really young and making me crazy. And he just has to wait for so long.
I love that story.
Just kind of the yearning like that poor man has to go through. And, you know, actually in Steal My Magnolia, he has
The launch 3 book is Steal My Magnolia. And if you haven't seen the cover is off the hook. And hopefully we'll have it right here in the final video, edited video. But if we don't, then that was purposeful. Anyway,
Fiona, please put it right there.
right there. When but we're only like a week away. We're like approximately a week away from the release.
Right around the corner. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. I can't wait for everybody to read it.
This story kind of saved me this summer through like a lot of stress and a lot of like, I mean, you know, it's hard to be creative in a time of great stress and crisis. But writing Grady and Magnolia, who like, I loved writing their story because he has a lot of that kind of longing and yearning that Levi had to deal with in Baking Me Crazy, because like she's literally the worst person that he could have fallen in love with in Green Valley in terms of like everything that could be pitted against them in terms of a relationship. It like she's got all these things working against them in terms of, you know, she dated his best friend and business partner, and his dad was her dad was kind of the villain in Batter of Wits. And so there's so many dynamics to why she's the last person he should fall in love with, but he just loves her so much, and they're so opposite.
Because of that family curse, but because of that family legend. Yeah, and he doesn't have any choice. I love it.
He doesn't have any choice, and he kind of sets himself up where like he needs help running this business. And truthfully, she's totally wrong for the job. Like she's so wrong for the job, but she also knows like this dude's the only guy in town who's going to hire me because he doesn't know my dad and he doesn't know me. Nobody else is going to hire me away from the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
Like, because her dad wouldn't have it. So
McIntyre, he's like no joke. And he's come up in a couple of Winston Brothers books. So an Easter egg there too. But go ahead.
No, it's fine. So like he kind of sets it up where he needs her help, and she walks in and it's literally like in his head, he has this mental tally of like, I should not be hiring her. This is such a bad idea, because he's like heart eyes looking at her right now as she's walked into the office, and he's like, do you want the job? Like, you know, I mean, like and she's of course thinking there's no way this guy is going to hire me. And so, and like she hates the outdoors. Like she is a pure Southern belle. And so to help him run this outdoor company is really funny. It's really funny.
I am just beside myself for people to read this coming up in almost, I guess, a little bit longer than a week, I think, from when this is airing. But thank you so much for coming to talk to us about the awesome book. Your three-peat. This is your third book with Smarty Pants Romance. So we're so honored that you want to write books with us, and we can't wait for everybody to read it. And
it has been a joy. I love Green Valley. I love writing in Green Valley. It's funny because I love, like, I have to hear myself in a Southern dialogue when I'm writing, and that's a whole different.
Yeah, sometimes when I'm writing in Green Valley, some of the phrases will come out like, oh, bless your heart, or something like that. And I'm like,
yep.
I need to, curtail that. So.
Yep, both my beta reader and my sensitivity reader for this book are Southern. And my beta reader was like, I never would have guessed that a Michigander wrote this book. Like, she goes, you sound Southern when you write this book. I was like, yes.
Thank you again so much for coming on. And if you are watching this and you leave a comment below with your favorite Southern saying, you enter to win a print copy of Steal My Magnolia. So please do so. And thank you everybody for watching. And thank you all the authors for having these videos with me. So until the summer, this is Penny signing off. Thank you so much, Carla. Have a lovely rest of your day.
You too.